So hello guys, welcome to my channel once again, Mr. Deribet. In today's video content, I'm going to give you guys the best strategy regarding to basketball under prediction, and also I'll be recommending the right league for you to make use of as predicting your basketball under points. In the previous video, I dropped a strategy on the basketball over points and I recommended some leagues that you guys can go on to predict your games with. So in today's video content, I'll put you guys through the process of how you can predict the under points. Actually, the under point happens to be a very hard strategy compared to that of the over point. It is very easy to win your basketball prediction with over point compared to that of the under point, but there are some situations whereby you are going to make your do your analysis and you are going to realize that you are unable to have access, or you are unable to predict over point games that will give you your desired odd. So in order to be able to accumulate enough odds in a day, I came up with the strategy of the under point with a very easy steps and guide. So I want you guys to pay a very close attention to all the details that I will be projected to you guys in this particular video. So before we move on, I would like to appreciate you guys for the trust in us and how you've been following us. So now let us move on to our basketball menus and let us see the leagues. So on the list, yes, don't let me say yesterday. Let me say in the previous video. In the previous video, I recommended some leagues for the over prediction, which are the German league, the Brazil MB league. We have the Korean league, the Austria league, and some others like that. But those are the mains for me. Sometimes I always consider the USA NBA league, but I realize that sometimes they lack consistency in their total outcome. So right now, for basketball prediction of the under points, the leagues that you should always look into, make sure you can look into the France league, the France league. You can look into the Greece league, and also the Italy league, and sometimes the Spain league, because the Spain also they always have this high record of playing under point games. So right now in this particular video, I'm going to make use of some games as an example of how you can predict your under points and how you can go for the markets if it is provided by the bookmakers. I also want you guys to learn how to avoid games that does not meet your analysis. Now let us go on without wasting much of our time. So I'm selecting France Pro A. So one thing I want you guys to also notice is that the type of the market that the bookmakers is providing for you. Make sure you always go for something safe or something that meets your analysis. But for me, when it comes to basketball, I always go for something that is extremely safe. Now let us go on. So I'm clicking on this particular match, and the first thing I always do if I want to check the analysis or the statistics of a particular match is their stats. So right now we are currently at their head-to-head menu, whereby we have the head-to-head, as you can see. We have the head-to-head and we have the head-to-head new. So within these two, you can make your analysis, whereby here we are able to check the last 5 meetings they've played together, and under the head-to-head new, you'll be able to access the last 5 meetings they've played with other teams. So this particular style analysis is very similar to that of the over points, but what makes the difference is that in the over points, we are focusing on how we can predict games that will be over the point that we predict. But in the under points, we have to be very careful, because anything happens in predicting under points, they can go to extra time, like overtime rather. In basketball, we have something that we call overtime. This overtime is something that always cuts games of the under points sometimes. Now, without wasting much of our time, before I move on, I would like to inform you guys about the rollover plan that is currently going on. So this rollover plan is a some kind of 3 days rollover, and after the 3 days we start again. And the strategy I'm using for this particular rollover is the over 1.5 strategy and over 0.5 strategy. Sometimes I always apply the handicap. These 3 strategies are currently the ultimate strategy of my portfolios, because when it comes to rollover, you have to be very careful of the kind of strategy that you use. I always tell my audience that using a particular strategy doesn't mean that you are going to be winning your games 100%, but at least you will have the high possibility of a successful outcome of your game. So for predicting this particular rollover, I have some strategies, which is the over 1.5 strategy, over 0.5, and handicap. So these three strategies are what we are going to be using in our rollover. So if you are interested in joining us concerning this particular rollover plan, you can come to my DM, and I'm going to drop my contacts in the video description, both for Telegram and WhatsApp. If you are interested, you can contact me through that. And also, if you are interested in learning these strategies, before you contact me based on learning it privately, I would like to tell you that this particular strategies is not is based on is a paid for tutorial strategies. It deals with an interpersonal tutorial, so it is a one-on-one tutorial between you and I. So let us move on. Now we are currently at the head-to-head, and if you want to predict the under point, first thing you need to look into is to look into their form. The same thing goes to predicting over point. Look into their form. Okay, when you see their form, you can realize that the home team is not really in form with 20 with by winning just one games in the last 5 meetings with other teams. And same thing goes to the away team. The away team won just 2 games out of the last 5 meetings. So these are the things you need to look into. Check if these two teams have not been able to win at least 3 matches in the last 5 meetings. Please kindly pay a very good close attention to all the details in this particular video. Now the next thing you need to move on to is the last 5 meeting. Under the last 5 meeting, you check their last 2 games, as you can see here. In the situation of predicting over points, if you notice very well, we always go for between these last 2 games, we always check the lowest point that they score between these two. But in situation of the under point, you have to check the highest point they played in the last 2 games. So between these 2 games that they played, it is very obvious that the 88 and 93 is the highest point they had in the last 2 games compared to that of the 73 and 79. Now we are picking 83 and 93 for our game. So let me move on to the calculator. We have 88 and 93. 88 plus 93. So another steps we need to go into is their last 2 games with other teams. Now for the home team, if you check the last 2 games, don't forget we are looking for the highest point they had for predicting our under. So in the last 2 games they play with other teams, you can see that the 88 and 73 is the highest point compared to that of 69 and 77. So don't forget, the highest point is what you are looking into when predicting under. I want you to take note of that. So we have 88 and 73. 88 plus 73. So now we move on to the away aspect. Also, the last 2 games played with other teams, whereby the away played with other teams. So we have the one whereby they played 96 and 77, and we have another one whereby they played 72 and 84. It is obvious that their last match, which is the 96 and 77, is the one they had the highest point, and this is one we are using as our addition. Okay, 96 and 77. So if you notice very well, I only add the total points of 3 matches. After adding the total point of the 3 matches, we are able to get 515. So now we are going to divide this 515 by 3. And what are we having here? 171. 171. So this is what I always do. To be sincere with you, this 171 will only give you the insight of what you should predict as under. If you want to predict your under game compared to that of the over point, when you are predicting over point, you have to subtract so that you will be able to get a lower point that at least there's no way anywhere near. If not, betting do its own things. you are going to win the game. So when it comes to under, you have to add a particular figures to it. The minimum figures that you can add to predict your under is 10. For me, sometimes when it comes to some leagues, I always add 20 to it, whereby, for example, in this situation whereby we have 171, I can just decide to add 20 to it and give me 191, and I'm going to only predict that under 191. But in a situation whereby you want to go for something that is, have a big odd, you can add the minimum of 10 points to it. Okay, now let us add 10 to it, and we're able to get 181. Now, the another problem that we can be facing in predicting basketball is that the bookmakers are not providing this market sometimes. For example, we are able to get 181 as under prediction, and let's see if the bookmakers provide it. Oh, this is this is this is ridiculous. If you check this game very well, this is the minimum market that the bookmakers provided. This is painful and annoying. I'm sorry for doing analysis on that self. Let me check. Oh, the bookmakers are not making it available, so let's check if we have another France League game. Oh no, let us go for it. Italy. The bookmakers did not provide the markets, and I want you to make sure that when you are predicting these particular leagues that I recommended, make sure you are playing your games on their top leagues. That their top leagues are where the bookmakers will provide you enough market to predict your games with. So let us check the Spain. Let me check if okay. You can see that the bookmakers are providing a very minimal odd and markets as now. Let us make use of. But one thing about the Spain league is that sometimes they lack consistency when it comes to predicting under and over, so it fluctuates. But the one that I will highly recommend for you is the Greece league, the France league, and the Italy league. But the Spain league, once in a while, they 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 do what you want. So I'm going to quickly make an analysis of this, and let's see if we are able to have something good. Please don't forget, always check their form. No team must be in form between these two. As you can see, one of them is having 80%, so I'm going to avoid it. Okay, I have another one here, so I'm going to quickly make a very quick analysis of it and we move on. So the last two games here, we have 71, 79, 69, 78, and the biggest among these two is 71, 79. Now let us do our 71 plus 79. So you move on to their head-to-head new. The last two games of the home team, and in the last two games of the home team, you check the biggest points. So it is 93 and 74. 93 plus 74. So the last two games for the away team also, you have to check the biggest point, and the biggest point we are able to get is 90 and 74 between the two. So you can see what I'm talking about. In the last game, the lack, basketball, sometimes the teams can lack consistency. The last two games they played 90 and 74, and in the last game they only played 60 and 75. So focus on, for predicting under, just focus on the biggest odd they played. So we are moving on, we are picking 90 and 74. 90 plus 74, and the total points we are able to have here is 481. Now you divide this by 3 and it is 160. For me, if I want to add for predicting my under, I always add 20 to it. 20, I always add 20 if I want to predict under. But if I want to take the risk of, okay, probably I want a big odds, or I want to accumulate my tickets in time, I can add the minimum figures of 10. Now imagine you are adding 10 to this particular 160, so we are able to get 170, and if you add 20 to it, definitely you'll be getting 180. That shows how extremely your games is safe. But this particular one is just a normal prediction whereby you are adding the minimum figures of 10. Okay, we are able to get 170. Now let us check the market if the bookmakers provide it. So unfortunately, if you check very well, what the bookmakers is providing is 167. One thing about this thing is just that the bookmakers too, they are like a company that are willing for profit, and the way winning is not their own joy. There are ways of making their own profit, and joy is to make us lose. So it's like it's risk taking. For me, if I want to do it very well, I will avoid this game. I won't lie to you guys. I will avoid this game because initially the safe aspect of it, the bookmakers are not providing the market for it, and the risk aspect of the prediction of the analysis, yet they are still not providing the exact market for it. At least I should be able to have something like under 170 and under maybe 171, but unfortunately we are seeing under 167. But in short, without wasting much of our time in this video, that is the exact process of predicting your under point. Please, if your analysis are not meeting your if the market is not meeting your analysis, always try and avoid the games. Always try and avoid the games. It is better not to play games than to keep losing your money to the bookmakers. Please, if you want to be betting, make sure that you bet responsibly. And as you know, betting is not always 100% accurate, and anything that involves human activities, it is easy to change. It changes over time. It is dynamic. So if you're interested in joining my rollover plan, my rollover group, contact the numbers and the username in the description. But for both my Telegram and my WhatsApp. So thanks for watching, guys. I love you guys. See you guys in the next video content. Bye.